these. The song we'll sing tonight before we go to prayer will be in 55. Number 55, Beyond the Departing. Number 5, first song. Let's sing. Beyond this departing, losing and leaving, far beyond losses, far coming this, and far beyond taking, and the reading, was our land of bliss, and beyond fair and bright, and beyond wisdom night, summer land, God is its light. Oh, happy summer land of bliss, beyond this land of toiling, towing and reaping, far beyond the shadows darken this, and far beyond the sighing, moaning and weeping, lies summer land of bliss, land beyond so fair and bright, land beyond there is none, summer land, God is its light. Oh, happy summer land of bliss, beyond the land of waiting, seeking and dying, far beyond sorrow's darkness, and far beyond the pain and sickness and dying, lies summer land of bliss, land beyond so fair and bright, land beyond where is night, summer land, God is its light. Oh, happy summer land of bliss. If you want to mark the invitation song, that'll be number 380. Number 380, just as I'll be the invitation song after class. For class, number 197. Number 187, I know the way. Have thine way, Lord, have thine way. Thou art the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me after thy will, while I am waiting, yielded still. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Search me and try me, Master, today. Why do they so, Lord? As in thy presence, humbly I bow. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Wounded and weary, help me, I pray. Power, all power, early is thine. Touch me and heal me, Savior divine. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Hold o'er my being, passive sway. Fill with thy spirit, till all shall see Christ only always living in me.
Now get everything again. Pardon delay on electronic. Okay. Here we go. I'm old and I keep things. Okay. Now, have everything up there? It's coming. Can you hear me now? You can't hear me. Yell out. I love that. Okay, you got a screen up there, what I intended. I got to ask you questions tonight. I like everyone here. Those that are on, it's going to be an unusual class. I've gone for a couple of weeks, and I thought, what would it start up in John, and how many of you I would have to do, and I already got discouraged. I wanted to ask you a question. Did you ever run across a song that you just cut out of your mind? That you just hummed all day long? Did you ever run across a subject in a movie show that you just could put away? That just bothered you for hours and hours and hours? That ever happen? I've got a few yet. All right, there's some here in the last. Well, this week happened to me. And it happened to be over Kyle Rittenhouse. It was on YouTube. It was on the internet. It was on TV. It was on news. It was everywhere, and I just didn't get it out of line. But what I really didn't get out of my mind was ignorance I saw in mainstream media about our laws actually are. And I got to think, where did that come from? Do you know where our laws from? Many of them have their predecessors in the Old Testament. As a matter of fact, one of the things I had considered moving to was John chapter 8. What is the old? You know what happened in the opening of chapter 8? Don't let me answer it well. What happens in the opening of John chapter 8? So read that and see. If we get through the last night, there's an assignment I'll give you. I'm going to give assignment to read the book of Esther, which is kind of weird, but some good information there. One chapter opens Jesus in the temple, and scribes and Pharisees and Jews bring him a woman caught in a dream. They say to her, Moses said us in law, paraphrasing. Moses said to her that she be stoned, but she's been from the very adultery. So Moses told her she should be stoned. Jesus was saved. And how Jesus answers them to mind some things that they didn't know about the law. Moses say that one caught in it should be stoned. Yes. Just very clear, very clear. There are other part of law. And I will open up tonight and begin to discuss some of the things of the law and all we have to read, because how many have seen protesters out protesting the penalty with signs that say shall not kill? How many of you all the time? Is that what think it's the Seventh Amendment? Which one is it? Is it the Seventh Amendment? Maybe. Maybe the Seventh Commandment. Thou shalt. What's that word? Murder. Okay. Well, that's what I wanted to go into tonight. I wanted to take a look at this and show you at the bottom of the slide here. The American standard actually says thou shalt not. The original James says thou shalt kill. The New King James up here is you shall not. There are several others. Not sure about the New American Standard. If anybody the New American Standard, you might want to look up. I think it's to this 20 verse 13. What does the word say? Here's the problem is in translating and kind of how to take passage against the other. Why does the New King say murder, American Standard kill? Well, the problem is in our English. What do you think of when you kill? It's basically those that limited definition kill, which is this is anything, does fit very well some of the other passages. We try to rationalize what's said in the other passages, things that they do relative to corporal punishment. It doesn't fit well. The definition, it kind of would turn to Exodus 24. You can look up here. I'll put it up if you can do this. So whoever blasphemes the name of the Lord shall surely be put to death. All the congregation certainly stone the strange as well as him is born in the land. When he blasphemes the name of the Lord, he'll be put to death. Well, that word Hebrew, and I don't even tend to know how to pronounce it. Okay? Strong finds it as passion kill, especially murder. So in Hebrew, that word has the idea of destroying someone and murder someone. Both. That one word, Hebrew. And what it means, basically, going to be taken from text. Look in English, and that's the part of this thing. Murder noun is the unlawfully killing, and for the most, it's limited to people. Until just recently, with can murder babies. It's in the relationship of unlawfully killing someone. If you look up in English in Webster, what it says simply deprive of life. That covers about everything. In our vernacular, the idea of thou shalt kill is what is transmitted in Hebrew. Hebrew is more especially murder, that unlawful killing, or it'll be defined wrong, and I'll show passages what actually defines what it is. It's to hate one, lie and wait for them, and kill them. Forethought and malice. That way God does it. That's much the way we do it too in cases. So basically the commandment is say, shall do no murder, not shall not kill. Well, that kind of brings up a question. In the Old Law, what about kill someone? What about a person? How was handled in the Old Testament? What should do? And then as we go through this, what I think about is how has that flowed over to our justice system? And it has. It's a precursor. Our justice, those definitions, those usages, those definitions that gave to the Jews from 1,600 years ago, and probably more, it was stood, I think, far back as in Abel, that murder wrong. These things flowed into our system when the people that formed government to begin back in the back in the 18th century, wrote the Declaration of Independence, Constitution, began to write the laws that Congress passed. Basically, this was codified in the early 20th century. So if we argue what the law is, if we want to say, well, we need to do something else, but we're actually moving away from what God gave. Basically, because we pattern our system is basically what's given here. And I just went through some of those passages and theorize you what it is and kind of what it indicates. Did it all work? Did it always work? When humans are involved, always work? No, it didn't. How about Bob? We'll learn in all that which were to behave. You couldn't put in death without witnesses. We'll show the passages. Basically, Joe was able to bear witnesses to anything that he wanted them to say. They put Nabal to death based on lying witnesses. What about Jesus? What about the witnesses to him? Truths past. So is it always? No, it doesn't. Ignorance of the law, if you travel to the law and you come to a conclusion about what should be done, and you look at evidence and get the witness on, House is for the videotape what he did. Okay? Video of the event. You don't have to do on human witness. You can see that yourself in the pictures that are, if you care to watch. Now, obviously, the media didn't care to watch. Okay, I'm going to fool around the politics here a little, because I'm going to get to what I've seen on ABC, CS, C, MSNBC, for the most part, lies. CNN, for the most part, lies. Newsmax is pretty good. Fox is good on this. But they'll show you videotape. You can see, so your lies can see exactly what happened. So I'll let you watch and see, but I want to understand what the law is and where it came from. The question is, did God give you or self-defense? Did God give you directly the right to defend yourself or attack? What do you think? Okay, I'm going to suppress mode. Okay, that. We're going to look at some things, but I want you to read it too, and we're going to, as we get there. Yeah, that's what you're getting to. Okay, so let's take this, some of it are that, and when we do it, why is it that, how does it work? Now, I'm going to read a little, I'm just going to read one verse of Luke 24:16 and 17. It's whoever blasphemes the name of the Lord shall surely be put to death. I want you to note. All the congregants shall stone him. Stranger as well as who is born in. Blasphemes in the Lord, he shall be put to death. Whoever kills in shall surely be dead. Now, if I just literally, once the congregation stones him, they stone each until the last standing makes to commit suicide. That makes sense to you. There's a difference here. Something else is gone in the definition what the circumstances of that death matter. What that person is doing deserve that matter. The way God judges things, the way we judge things. So that's kind of, I want you to think of who allowed to take from the sinner, and why are not all guilty? So to kill and qualified thing of life is different from murder. Some of the things we're going to look at. The difference is the allegation for criminal activity, some defending themselves, accidents, and justice. Think about things as we go through some of this stuff. Here's an example, and our civil system is based on this one. In Act 21, 20 through 29, ox gore man or a woman, ox shall surely be boned. Flesh shall not be, but the only ox shall be bitten. But ox tend to thrust with his horn in the times past, and it has made known to the owner, it has not kept it confined, so that it has killed a man or a woman, ox shall be snared. Watch out. The owner also shall put to death. That's the precept there is for our civil system today. I'm no lawyer, but I think it's probably under our wrongful death. You can sue. But that's what God said that they do. It puts the responsibility for something happening as dire conscious to someone that might be directly. What comes to mind is today. What example of that is today? Alex Baldwin. You heard that? Is there anybody who doesn't know what happened on Alex Baldwin's set for the Rush? Doesn't know what happened. Okay. Baldwin was practicing in a Western rust called rust. I don't know why they rust. practicing in a church, was handed a, I wish out of mind, I could show you. He was handed a single action. Does anybody know what a single action is? One or two. Okay. If you've seen a Western, seen a John Western, if you see him drawing the gun, you've seen a single action. Okay. In 45, he was handed a gun that was supposed to be, quote, empty or heavy rounds in it. He drew, fired, and the gun had a live round in it. It killed his cinematographer, wounded his director. Apparently, shot went through the shoulder of the director, penetrated the chest all the way to the spine of the photographer. She died. So, basically, they lived. These old designed for the cavalry 1873. They were designed to be able to down a horse as well as me. And they did that job pretty well. Someone had mistaken or on purpose, and he knows now, put a live round that gun. He is the producer. He's a star. And he hired people around. There's supposed to be a mirror there to make sure about this stuff. Basically, make sure the guns are safe, that they're supposed to do what they are going to do, what they're supposed to do in the scene, and not dangerously loaded, or that practice are handled, perform the set. All the last 40 to 50 years, there have only 3 deaths, movies involve firearm in something like 60 years. Safety protocols that are on most of these are very, very good and very, very strict. He's responsible for hiring people. He's responsible for making that those procedures are carried out. And he made to make sure, along with assistant director who was supposed to hand the gun. He bear responsibility. But boy, I'll see how he is trying to make safe. So, the principle that we're seeing, we can see out in the news in front of us today. You have to act responsibly towards things they have or they do, and that you're going to be held responsible for it. Now, under our current laws, probably that would be worse to determine manslaughter. Look at that, and God address that too. This is a manslaughter. John, what about Achan? Anybody know the story of Achan? Achan. No, Achan. Okay. Just we're entering the land of that God gave them to take Jericho. He told them before then to take this, I'm going to give this to you. He found the walls for them. He said, don't take any gold. Don't take any else. Don't take any plunder from the city. It all was to me. That's what Achan did. He took some gold. He took some silver. He took a few other things. That's what happened to the next battle. They lost bad to us, much smaller they were. And Moses and Aaron goes and says, the Lord happened. And he said, there's an camp. They started looking on Achan. They found things that he shaken. This is what had Achan. Achan was Zerah, the silver garment, the wedge of gold, his son, daughters, his oxen, his donkeys, his tent, and all he had. And they broke into the valley of Achor. Joshua said, why have you killed us? The more trouble to you, that so all Israel stone with stone, and burned them with fire after they had stoned them with stone. So here's another example of trouble in Israel. And so all Israel stone with stone, not just one. Deuteronomy. Here's the definition of murder, right here. If anyone has a neighbor who is in wait for him, rise against him and strike him, and mortally so he dies, and he's to one of the cities. Now, we'll talk about the city of refuge in a minute. Then the elder of this city shall send and bring him there, deliver him over to the hand of the avenger of blood that may die. The avenger of blood was probably a family member that was taken in what happened to satisfy justice. If you didn't have a family member, it fell to the Jews' congregation, the group. If you want that up, that's in verse 35. Go there and note. Verse 35, verse 20. Again, basically, we're put to death. But why? Here's what I want you to really have. Verse 10. Your eyes pity shall put away guilt of in blood from Israel, that it go well with. This is why I did it. The idea of executing this kind of judgment, even though we think very hard, after there are no sources, there are no prisons, jails, and while it seems harsh, there's a reason for it, and the reason I think valid even today, and part of what our system has to. The avenger of not guilty. This is just. There is the legal. He said murder was illegal kill of a person or the illegal deprivation of life. What did it imply? There is a means to do this. There is a legality involved in which no responsibility of blood. Well, that's what it's telling us. What is the purpose putting away? What commandment? Whoever is deserved death shall be death on the testimony of two or three witnesses. Not be put to death on the testimony of one witness. We've taught this before. The hands of the witness, shall be the first against him to put him to an after hands of all the people. So you shall put away the evil from among you. That's times past locked up criminal. What happens when what in our own experience when we release criminal prison? What happens? A high percentage go out and crimes again, especially if they get with no punishment. You shall weigh the evil. Who's charged that? Who in our society is charged with that? Think about it for a minute. Who in our society is charged with that? I know. And not even the courts. Charged actually executives who charged with someone justice who's charged with all of it. You know that I think about 2005, don't quote the exact year, but around 2005, there was an incident in D.C. There were 5 men living in a house. Broke in, 3 of them in the floor of the house. Raped and murdered. There were 2 men in the floor of the house that he knew about. Called the police. Police came, drove up to the house, looked at it, drove away. Called the police again. Police came, drove up to the house, drove away. Those women sued Washington, D.C. for the wrong death of their friend relatives. The Supreme Court ruled that the police had no obligation on an individual basis protect women. The CDC were being clear. What the Supreme ruled. Your force out, there's no obligation to protect on an individual basis. You know that? You knew that, didn't you? Okay? Who's responsible for protection of your family in that instant individual basis? You are. That's exactly what they were. They had that same individual responsibility to stop this and that evil over among them. You are the responsible party today in the country. So, get into politics. But basically, you realize it. The purpose for this is to weigh the evil. Who's responsible? Yeah. The Supreme ruled to have an obligation to the public in general. Okay? When it's easy for them to find a on arresting will, but they're no obligation for you individual. You call them to your house, they are not particularly responsible. Now, most departments respond to that. Yes. When push comes to shove, happens, Bob. You know you there. The Supreme Court only the population in general. If you, an individual, in trouble, they do not have to respond to you. Now, as far as I know, and I'm not a lawyer, and I don't specifically speak about Port Lucie or Virginia Beach, I have been told about who are supposed to know. Your house is into, and you call 911, better use phrase, or it will be a long time when anybody responds. Tell the 911 operator it's a home invasion in progress. Unless you do that, nobody's going to be flying to your door. And it may not happen. Okay? So, that's the best of my knowledge. That's legal advice. That may help you, might help you. But that I've been told people who should know about that. But that consistent.
But there's some certain agreements because people, they lose break in their house. Somebody is trying to get you. They'll say, and you'll send 911, you know who this is? No, I have no idea who it is, but it's their husband or
Yeah.
dad. And that's why we get in situations where, you know,
Yeah. Basically, that's what the courts have ruled. Now, there are two things. Obviously, this is my own advice on understanding. It's one thing to read the law, for you to read the law, see what the law says. How things would come out to you if you're arrested or if you want to get them out charges to somebody. One of the sitters is going to judge more about what is called law. That's how the judge ruled in some cases and places. Not necessarily what's on the law, the exact wording of the law. That's why this debate about Supreme Court and an amendment and around specific wording of what the Constitution says. Those of us who accept the responsibility for to care for our families and depend on want them to read that law just as it is written. The liberal left doesn't. You can see the debate. Talk about what it said here. What does this relate to? The woman brought in the tree. What's happening here? same thing that's going today, only they're doing it with Jesus. It's been going for 2,000 plus years. So let's think about this. So, cannot the death accept testimony of, cannot be death on the test of one witness. Hands of the witnesses shall be defended against him to the death, and after hands of all people. So you put away evil from among you. That's another thing. That appears several times in the Old Testament law. Put away the evil from among you. You word that in. So when we look at J8, we look at 5, it says, Moses in all commands that such stone. But what did he say? What's wrong with that? What's happening? What's wrong with it? What's that? That, and that he says in verse 6, this testimony, what does it indicate them? Who should have taken up the stones first? The witness. Their question, they had read our law, not just a little section, Leviticus 20, had read Deuteronomy. They would, when they called witnesses, should own her right there. Were to be the first ones. So what did he tell them? He, without sin, let him throw a stone at her. Had to remind them of what their law was. It's not just without sin. They were supposed to be the first to begin. They either ignored part of their law or they didn't know it. And we'll talk about this. It's not what Jesus said is not talking about merciful. Also has the effect that they should have known this is what they should have been doing. Not the one who throws a stone, even the witness. The way things work, and this is, excuse me, but I'm going to have a little water here. He had to remind them what their law was. Same way with us. We do what we want to do. He says the same way, the evil way from you. Look at 82. And the psalmist speaking to the Lord, tell Israel what they should be doing. This was individual responsibility for Israel. And I agree, they didn't have a police. They didn't have prisons. They had to do these, it says, to look poor and the needy, free them from the hand of the wicked. What does it mean to free them from the hand of the wicked? What do you have to do? When you see something wrong, should there be some responsibility to we may be overlooking the things that plans to do. Look at Deuteronomy 19. They are supposed to carefully. But look at the witnesses. The witness is a witness. The says of falsity against another, shall do him as he thought to done to his earth. That's an interesting thought. What about those false witnesses of Jesus? What should have happened to them? They've been crucified. What about the false witness Naboth? Should have been stoned and put to death. But this doesn't all work that way. It worked then, it does not always work today. It's the one God. Here's an interesting one. And this one that the defense guy really liked. In Exodus 22, if the thief in breaking in is struck so dies, there shall be no for his blood. But if sin is risen on him, there shall be guilt for blood. Should make full restitution, If he had nothing, then he'd be sold for theft. And if the theft is found alive, and whether it be an ox or a donkey or sheep, he shall restore. But what's interesting about that, you know, God restored to Job, it was all restored double. I thought that was very interesting. That throughout all this, God said Job was a blame upright man. And Job, I don't do all of this. And God, in a way, you're right, you deserve all this. But he had a purpose. So it's interesting here. What this is interpreted, if the day has passed, can't continue to defend himself, to take a life. Comes into a lot of that weave into this to help clarify the situation. This is general. And this is not about self-defense, as we might think, because it's not in specific. But there are cases where it does. Why do you think there's no guilt in this? Someone's broke your house, and you struggle. And in that case, there were no firearms, but they had swords. And so large knives, we'll talk about swords. The one that Peter carried when he cut the man's ear is described as a dirt knife. And it's the word machete. Basically, that big knife could be deadly. These are weapons. The one that Jesus told them later, and we'll go over this, to go, don't have a sword, buy one. It's the same kind of thing. It's the word that's generally used for the Roman broadsword war. Okay. I had a replica sword, Roman sword that I bring. You need to bring it back and show you what those look like. They're pretty scary weapon. In the hands of a strong man can be a pretty big thing. So, basically, Jesus is going, I'm going away. I protected you while I was here before. I stopped before, and you were protected. I'm going away. That's not happened now. We'll talk about verses. Being out of time. Was the case of the man breaking and putting away, in the sense that I think you will. Remember, only applies, I know you right now, in our laws, under our situation, you be in your life. A reasoned man, if you're in a selfish situation, the state is the real man's reasonable person in that circumstance, the jury or the judge must believe they had a genuine fear for their life or greatly harm. Right, Bob? Okay. You can't condemn that a real man would have feared for his life in a situation. You don't have access to that defense. Okay? Now, if somebody's in a knife at you, I think you can prove that. You got a video of that. You can pretty well believe that the reason man is you were in fear for your life or bodily harm. That's the way the law works. That's consistent with this. That's consistent with what's been shown in all this. Well, as we go into this, to begin to look at some things that Jesus now said about this. Go to Joshua. Now, I mentioned some refuge. This was for manslaughter. We call it manslaughter. My second degree. We've got mine divisions. God didn't that many divisions, as far as I can tell. We're to a point where you actually kill someone. he gives an example, we'll look at it later, of what those accidents be. If you actually kill someone, you for this city, because that family member that was upset at you had the right to your life until you to that city. You had to stay there until you could prove between the elders, two cities, getting this together, it was indeed something that deserved death before you back. I invite you to read these. Now, the sleep index is pretty high, okay? When you start reading this stuff, it may not be the most exciting stuff that you've, but it is the cursor. It's what came for our loss, what gave us the framework and the standard of what our law and our justice system is supposed to be. It's like anything humans have exercised to do, we always do it quickly. This is what we should look into our court system. You commit the crime, the time. That's basically what it comes down. And these were set as, if you want to read what those cities in 35, 1 Chronicles 6, 57, 57, they're mentioned obliquely in some other passages. This is Joshua 20, verses 2 through 6. Tells you how it goes. Tells you the case of the man there. Here is an example of slaughter. It says, whoever kills his neighbor unintentionally. Deuteronomy 19, 4 through 11. Whoever kills his neighbor intentionally, not have hated him in the past, as when he goes to the woods, neighbor to timber, hand swing a stroke with axe down the tree, and the head slips from the hand and strikes his so that he dies. He flee to one of these and live. Least danger of blood, his anger is to pursue the man and overtake, because he is long kill him, though is not deserving of death, since he hath hated the victim in time. That's why I will have to convince you that everything you say about it might be wrong or disagree. Is hate. Real in the real extent of hate is basically to somebody's life. To work against in every way. To do things, not necessarily what we say, but we can't away from that. It's, he had not hated him in the past. Keep that in mind. Or none about defense. You shall put away evil from among us. Is the main point in these things, rules, as the penalties go. Now, I'm about time. I'm going to ask him, does not God mandate act directly for self-defense? You still believe that? Yeah, I know you do. But I'm going to, he maybe not. Because I'm going to take this up right now. Got a whole bunch of slides. And I thought this would happen. I want to read next the book of Esther. Okay? Read the whole book. Once you get the story of Esther in your mind, good. Because we're going to go over what Esther does and what happens in the book of Esther. And then we'll read about obeying the law in Romans. And we're going to talk that. I don't expect to convince Bob. There is very serious problems in Scripture with that idea that goes to you individually without anything else. And that's why it's important to us, the laws that are in here, because they're still responsible. Okay, tonight, Kyle Rittenhouse out there was a lease. He said abandoned body. Those who were in the same condition that these people were 2,600 ago. More than that. 3,000 ago plus. They didn't have a police force on their own. There were people out doing varied things. Regardless of what they thought they were doing some varied things. Burn people down. There were other people killed. There were other people out there with guns. So think about now, if you have a police force, how do you defend yourself? We'll talk about it, and let's talk that in terms. Now, I'm going to tell you, Esther does say something very specific about protecting yourself. We hadn't said much about self-defense so far, but there does. Book of Esther says very specific things about protecting yourself. And we need to look those circumstances for whether this end any of your, let me know, okay? But I couldn't get this on my mind because I keep seeing news. And ignorance that's all, and the ignorance that I continually see Scripture on vision. And the ignorance of our law. And do they do us good? Are they really good? I think they are. Do not always work right. We don't. Do we try? Yes, we should. So, next time, please register. If you have time, Luke and Matt, going through those. But as you know, our classes are back in. We offer an opportunity for anyone, if you want to Jesus, the way you need to offer the opportunity. You can belief, confession, repentance, baptism. We stand ready. If you come forward, stand and sing.
dear Father, we thank thee for my skill of various matters to learn more about you. What Paul said about protecting all of their family. They will also have spiritual with my shield will protect as well. I said thou hast forgiven us for the meeting and the Lord that the first day. Remember them, God. And also be with us as we move